we had decided off the air to call the red circle with the line through it the Ghostbuster sign. Because I've heard people refer to it as, you know, that thing that the Ghostbusters have with the red circle and the line through the ghost, and it's very clunky. So now I'm saying let's just uniformly all right now today decide to call it quickly the Ghostbusters sign.
The Ghostbusters sign, yeah.
Ghostbusters sign. 4 syllables. It's not that long. It's not a difficult word. Everybody could say Ghostbusters and sign. You just have to remember what it's called. That's what it's called in the dictionary.
Now that it has a name, it can be added to the keyboard.
Yeah.
It should be on the keyboard somewhere.
Yeah, okay. Let's find a good key for that to go. What's not doing much here?
Oh, I've always said nobody uses escape anymore.
Escape.
The only thing you use escape for is really, really poorly created programs that were created in like the early 90s.
Yeah. Or when you're in full screen, you press the escape key and then you're not in full screen anymore.
Yeah, but that's only on some players. Most players, you can just double click and get right back out. You don't have to reach for that escape key.
Double click? Excuse me. The escape key is one key. I'm the lawyer for the escape key, by the way. He's hired me to represent him.
It's so far away, though.
Yes, but you only need to press it once, whereas what you were talking about was double clicking. 2 clicks.
But there's a fallacy in your argument there.
What's the fallacy?
I don't know what the name of the fallacy is, but you're equating the same amount of energy expended for 1 click versus 1 press of the button. Mm-hmm. A double click isn't necessarily as energy taxing.
We have had the best physiologists in the business do studies on the amount of energy the muscles must expend for reaching for the escape key, which actually has a calming and stretching effect on the muscles, as opposed to the quick, tight, forceful motions of clicking 2 times in quick succession.
You got it. Yeah, this is the recording that you submit to the tobacco companies when you want to be a lobbyist.
Did you hear how well this guy argued for the escape key? Seriously, I stopped using my mouse.
He single-handedly kept the escape key on the keyboard. So that's how we start a show. This is how we just normally talk.
What, you trying to prove something?
No, I'm actually realizing it.
I was thinking about the word realize recently, and I realized it's hard. I'm really not trying to make that joke. And I had never noticed that the word real is the beginning of realize. And how when you vaporize something, you're turning it into vapor. It's really, you could picture that. But realize, I was like, that's a difficult concept, to realize something. It wasn't real, and now you have realized it.
Created something that has been reeled.
Yeah. You reeled it in.
I've actually kind of thought something similar. See, here we always bring it back to linguistics somehow.
Do we?
No. In the first few shows, we were talking about how we would do this kind of stuff.
We would bring it into a subject that we know nothing about.
And geography.
Yes. Which I'd also like to point out, we don't really know anything about analyzing Shakespeare either. But
we don't know anything about anything, really.
Yeah. We honestly have just heard a few things in high school and college and on the news, and we're trying to piece all that together and call it our general knowledge. You were saying?
What was I saying?
I don't know. But you know what we're going to do this week? Is we're going to read Sonnet 21.
All right, 21. We haven't read 21 before?
No, we read 20 last week. We read 25 on our Christmas episode, which, again, has not been released yet and will not be released on Christmas because it's already after Christmas. And, it's just...
We could wait a year and it'll be current again.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fine. Like, hey, listen to this podcast that I recorded last year, but I'm going to start... I have 52 of them, but I'm finally going to start releasing them. They're always a year behind. And it's about current events at the time.
It's perfectly timed.
Yeah, it's going to really remind you of the stuff that was going on, because they're going to talk very passionately and currently about it, and not with the... how people, if somebody were to talk about Benghazi on the news right now.
Can you believe we just re-elected Bush?
Yeah, right. If Brian Williams is talking about Bush getting re-elected, it's because he's talking about it in the past. we are going to be releasing it in the years in the future, but we're going to be talking about events that were current to us then. So we're going to have that kind of passion that he doesn't have when he brings it up on the news.
Nice.
We're going to have the current perspective. I think it would be cool if, say, NBC said, you know what, this season, starting from 6 o'clock to 6:30, we're going to play you the nightly news from like 1964. So on January 1st...
Oh, yeah, so like this day in 1964.
Yeah, here's Walter Cronkite. Go, watch it. Well, he might have been CBS. I don't know. Well, first trivia question. Ding, ding, ding. What do you think? What channel do you think Walter Cronkite was on?
I'm guessing NBC. Seems like an NBC guy.
Walter.
Andy Rooney was NBC, right?
Yes, because that was on... No, wait a minute. No, that was on 60 Minutes. Which was on
2020,
CBS. No, Andy Rooney, the old guy that would come on and complain about
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was at the very end of 60 Minutes, which is a CBS show. It's a CBS property.
Ah, okay. So that was CBS. Which is channel 2 for me. What's that for you?
Yes, 2 for me as well.
Oh, okay.
I know this guy he's like in his 40s, and he's an intelligent enough man, it seems like a smart guy. And when he talks to me about channels like TBS or TNT, or he'll refer to it by their number, but he and I live nowhere close. We don't have the same cable company. It's like it was on channel 57. And I'm like, that means nothing to me.
Well, TBS.
How do you... It's so intelligent in other ways, and yet tells me channel 47. What is that? All right, so Walter Cronkite. I have this feeling that he was on CBS.
Well, along with Andy Rooney?
Not at the...
And the crew?
And the what?
And the crew,
and the
of
crew.
the...
Walter Cronkite, Andy Rooney, and the crew. It was a CBS sitcom that ran from 1962.
Damn, think of how interesting... Okay, so imagine a show that opens with Walter Cronkite, then transitions into like a 20-minute thing of Andy Rooney, and then ends with like Barbara Walters.
So like something very serious and somber to begin with, and then just a kind of funny rant about something that goes on forever. A really long... There's a commercial break, and then it comes back to it, and he keeps going. And then like a 30-second Barbara Walters closer. And you're like,
just 30 seconds.
I don't know that they're allocating their time wisely. Sonnet 21 today, because I think Sonnet 20 went really well last week. Even though we didn't even quite get it. Remember we were a little bit off?
Yeah, we were a tiny bit off, but I'm so surprised. Yeah, like where we led ourselves and where we ended up was not so far from the beaten path of Shakespeare.
And yeah, we were asking the questions that the other scholars were asking, like, does this imply homosexuality from Shakespeare? Like, we wondered that, and that's what the scholars wonder too. So good for us last week. Now let's see if we can maybe take a step back and do worse this week.
And just in review, we know that the sonnets, this is just something we've learned from doing random research, but we've learned that the sonnets are broken up into kind of like arcs, story arcs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not stories, but it's phases of Shakespeare's writing.
Right.
And so the first 17, was it?
Yes.
Were the procreation sonnets. And now we know that we're into another series, but
the next 3 were about how long it took Blockbuster Video to close.
those are long sonnets.
A lot of just movies from the 80s and 90s on VHS. It was a really weird phase of his writing.
But do you know what phase we're in right now? I mean, I think it's all letters written to a boy, it seems, or to like a male writer, maybe?
Right. We found out later that sonnets 1 through, now I don't even remember the number, 124? I don't know. I'll have to look it up again. But they are the fair youth sonnets. So he's talking to a fair youth, and the fair youth is assumed to be a man. But it doesn't necessarily imply that Shakespeare was in love sexually with the man. But maybe it does. That's what some people go back and forth on it. So this is Sonnet 21. So this will also be addressed to a fair youth. But We have no idea what it's about. We haven't read it yet, so we're about to, and then we'll see what he's telling the fair youth this week.
Sonnet 21. So is it not with me as with that muse, stirred by a painted beauty to his verse, who heaven itself for ornament doth use, and every fair with his fair doth rehearse, making a compliment of proud compare, with sun and moon, with earth and sea's rich gems, with April's first-born flowers, and all things rare, that heaven's air in this huge roundel hems. Oh, let me, true in love, be truly right, and then believe me, my love is as fair as any mother's child, though not so bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air. Let them say more that like of hearsay well, I will not praise that purpose not to sell.
So I'm getting that it's something to a fair youth. Other than that, I have no idea what this is about.
I think we're going to have to really go dig into this one, not knowing anything about it.
That wasn't even fun. Way to go, Shakespeare. Like, we were so pumped I guess maybe this is where we started from last week, but it just...
We figured it out eventually.
Nothing. I get nothing.
Me too.
As mother's child, something about my love is as good as a mother's... No, I don't... Nothing. I'm mad at this.
Well, I think once we dig into it, maybe one by one, then read it again, it might start to make sense. So let's see what we got.
And we'll see maybe if you could still interpret poetry in anger. Let's see if that's... We're going to see if it's like the Force. Like, maybe we're going to learn, like, oh, no, you should not interpret poems that you're angry with. All right. So let's go from the top. Let's do it. Take me through it.
So you read the line.
Okay. So is it not with me as with that muse, stirred by a painted beauty to his verse, who heaven itself for ornament doth use, and every fair with his fair doth rehearse. So this is all comma. So this is one huge sentence so far.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
Let's stop for a second and see if we can get it with anything.
So it's not with me as with that muse. So I'm not the same as my muse, which I think we're assuming is a man, right?
So is it not with me as with that muse? So that guy. So there's something that is not with me that is with that guy over there.
Mm-hmm.
Stirred by a painted beauty to his verse.
Stirred by a painted beauty. What's a painted beauty? Just a painting?
Or a beautiful...
A woman with a lot of makeup on?
I don't know yet.
Stirred by a painted beauty to his verse. Stirred by to his verse. What the hell does that mean?
Okay, so maybe maybe this is still talking about... maybe he's still bearing the lead. So we still don't know what the
okay.
subject of this predicate is. So is it not with me as with that muse, stirred by a painted beauty to his verse, who heaven itself for ornament doth use, and every fair with his fair doth rehearse, making a compliment of proud compare with sun and moon, with earth and sea's rich gems, with April's first-born flowers, and all things rare, that heaven's air in this huge rondure hems. Whoa, it just...
What's a rondure?
I don't know. We gotta look up that word.
Alright, I'm looking it up right now.
Because the rule, if this is your first Mike and Scott read a poem, the rule is we're not allowed to look up any interpretations to help us, but we are allowed to look up a word. So maybe that word's going to be like robot, and we're going to be like, okay, whoa. We really needed to know that rondure means robot, otherwise we're going to be way off.
The definition of rondure is round or gracefully round curvature.
That's not what I wanted it to be. Robot. In this
Almost.
huge round hems.
Or gracefully rounded curvature.
So in this gracefully rounded, huge heaven air. I mean, it's a beautiful image, but what does it mean?
Could hems be referring to like a dress?
Okay.
Do dresses have hems?
Yes. Yeah. That's where I know the word hem from, is the art of sewing.
Yeah, but I mean, I know it from like pants, right? Because pants have a hem. But
do
dresses?
Can a dress? Yeah, I think a dress has hem. Sure.
Okay, so what if it's like, that heaven's air in this huge circular dress
Your dress is very circular.
or clothing.
I was standing across the room and I saw your circular dress.
Okay, let's read the next part. It says, "Oh, let me, true in love but truly right, and then believe me, my love is as fair as any mother's child, though not so bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air."
I'm going to write about my love, because Shakespeare does talk about his own writing a lot. I'm going to write poems about this thing that I love. So maybe the first two quatrains are just describing this beautiful thing, this beautiful fair youth that he's in love with. Because he does use the word love, and last week we were, debating whether it was platonic love or sexual love. But in any case, he does love this fair youth. So maybe in the first couple of quatrains, he's just trumpeting the fair youth, so we'll have to work those out. But now he's saying, so I'm going to write poetry. You're going to believe me because I'm going to be just very truthful when I write. You're going to know that I love this guy as any mother loves her child. Do you think that part's right? As any mother's child?
I think so, yeah. His love is as fair as any mother's child. Fair, I think it's just like beautiful, innocent. Yeah. Innocent, I think, is the kind of impact we're looking for there.
Sure.
And then he says, but it's not as bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air. What is that, angels? Or stars?
Gold candles fixed in heaven's air.
Or, do angels hold gold candles?
Or maybe like the sun and the moon.
Yeah. Basically, the second part looks like he's saying, so I can really write about love and how I feel
about this fair youth.
And, my love is just like it's innocent and beautiful, but it's not as hot as the sun, not so bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air. You think that's not as hot as the sun?
I'm wondering if my love is as fair means the love that he has, or he's calling the fair youth his love. Like, that's my love. Hey, love. My love is such a great love. My love is as fair as any mother's child. So, I don't care who you are. If you have a kid, it's not going to be as fair as my kid, my love.
Yeah, which is kind of like a different word for beautiful, right?
Yeah, so my kid's more beautiful than your kid. It's a bumper sticker. This whole sonnet is a bumper sticker. So I'm going to write, I'm in love with this kid, and I'm going to write very honestly, and you have to believe me that this kid is more beautiful than any kid you've seen. Except the only thing that it's not more beautiful than is the sun and the moon. That's how beautiful this fair youth is.
Yeah. Let them say more that like of hearsay, well, I will not praise that purpose not to sell.
Usually the rhymed couplet at the end helps us out. This has hurt me.
Well, let's see. It says, let them say more that like of hearsay, well, I feel like that's saying, let them not believe me if they want. Like, call it hearsay. How beautiful this person is.
If they're the kind of people that want to listen to false gossip, let them.
I will not praise that purpose not to sell. So I will not become famous.
I will not praise that purpose. So I will not agree with the fact that there are people that are more beautiful than him out there.
Or what if this is like a tabloid?
TMZ?
Yeah, I'm not going to sell something bad about him.
Yeah, I got some dirt on this guy, but that's not what I'm going to write sonnets about. Not going to sell it. I'm a man of principle. I'm William Shakespeare.
No, I don't know if that even makes sense.
You don't know if it makes sense that Shakespeare was running a tabloid? So what else? So let them say more that like of hearsay well.
Spread their rumors, whatever they want to do, but I'm not going to praise that purpose. I'm not going to spread the rumors.
I don't do that. I just tell you the facts, and these are the facts. There is nobody more fair than my fair youth, and he's a muse to me. He makes me... I was like reading it over again.
Well, why don't we take it from there then? Why don't we just try to take it from the top, having kind of like picked apart the little small pieces and see if we can pull anything from the top now.
Okay, let's go. So back to the top, people. Sonnet 21. Let's get this sucker. What is the beginning about?
So is it not with me as with that muse? So I'm not the same as that beautiful, fair thing that's not as bright as the sun, but as fair as any mother's child. Like, I'm not as hot as him. I'm not as beautiful as him or her. Stirred by painted beauty to his verse, who
is stirred? So when somebody uses a muse...
Oh.
Okay.
I'm finding something here. So, muse, stirred by a painted beauty to his verse. Yeah, just like you're saying, if somebody uses a muse, it means that they're able to become artistic and start writing or start painting.
Uh-huh.
So the muse, so he's saying that I am stirred by a painted beauty, the muse, to my verse, to writing well.
That even heaven uses, who heaven itself for ornament doth use. So heaven uses you to make it look better. Heaven's the most beautiful place in the world, and it's like, I need something in the corner. Let me use this fair youth.
What do you think? How do you think we're doing so far?
Nice.
Like, you think we're onto
We're
something?
picking up steam, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same thing because I felt good about
I'm
that.
getting excited. The snowball's rolling. Who heaven itself for ornament doth use, and every fair with his fair doth rehearse. So he fantasizes about. So you fantasize about this muse, and then you could. Seriously, what does that mean? And every fair with his fair doth rehearse.
Every beautiful person uses his beauty
Yeah.
to practice how to be beautiful. So, like, if that guy walks like a champ, all the other beautiful people are trying to imitate him and practice his walk.
Yeah, it's like when we look at Ryan Gosling, we're like, okay, we get it. What are you doing? Let me see how you do it.
Yeah, I gotta wear those button-down shirts.
Oh, does he wear button-down shirts now? You put everybody in a button-down shirt. Because that was Ryan Reynolds that we were talking about a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that wasn't Gosling?
Now you're putting Ryan Gosling in button-down shirts? Mike is in love with Ryans in button-down shirts.
It's just a Ryan thing.
I'm stirred. This guy's my muse.
I'm not the same as him because I get stirred by a painting. I get stirred by him
To write.
to write.
Making a compliment of proud compare with sun and moon. Maybe sun and moon are those two candles, as we suggested earlier. Making I was saying compliment. It's couplement.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't see that.
Well, it's because normally we don't see the word couplement. So I guess couplement means two things joining together, wouldn't you think?
Yep.
Of proud compare. So who's doing the couplement? You and the muse?
I think he's saying making a compliment that is just as good as the sun and moon.
Yeah, so who's the
earth and the
couplement
sea.
that's just as good as the sun and moon?
And then he's going to April's firstborn flowers and all things rare.
So baseball cards.
So these are all things that are couples that he's comparing.
Okay. With earth and seas. Okay, earth and sea. April's firstborn flowers. Well, how is that a couplement? April and flowers?
And all things rare?
So sugar and spice and all things nice. That heaven's air in this huge round dress.
Hems. Is there another... Let me look up another definition of hems. Let's see.
Yeah. Because we're allowed to look up words.
Another definition for hem
Yes.
is a short cough or clearing of the throat, made specially to gain attention, like
Oh, hawing and hemming.
That's a hem.
And what's a haw?
Like haha, I don't know.
Well, I think there's an expression. Hemming and hawing. I said hawing and hemming. It's hemming and hawing.
Here, I'll look it up.
All right.
Hemming and hawing is speaking hesitantly and inarticulately with numerous pauses and interjections.
So when you're talking to a woman that's attractive, you hem and haw.
So in this situation, that heaven's air in this huge rondure hems. So it goes to gain attention.
So it is not with me as with that muse.
Oh, wait. So when it says that heaven's air in this huge rondure hems, it's God, heaven's air.
Okay.
It's possibly God in this huge universe. Rondure is like, I don't know, something circular, maybe this huge world. Hems. So God goes,
Why is God clearing his throat?
That's what I'm wondering here.
So that's the mystery.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of what he's saying with that heaven's air in this huge rondure hems. Like, it's heaven's air that's hemming in this huge rondure.
Because of the fair youth?
Wait, who's the couplement too? Oh, me and the muse.
Yeah, because a muse needs a client. What does the muse call the person that comes to be inspired by the muse?
Yeah. Hey, that's a good question. If there is such a thing, I wonder.
Yeah, like how many? What do you do? I'm a muse. Oh, really? How many clients do you have? You really only need one if you're somebody's good. How do you put that sentence together? If the person that uses you as a muse is really talented, then you could make a lot of,
Maybe it's artists.
Maybe what's artists?
I mean, the word it's just artists who need muses, right? Not anyone else.
You're so discriminate. You discriminate against me. What if a banker wants a muse
to do his banking job really well?
Yes. The numbers start adding up, and everybody starts to benefit, and he creates a stable system.
I would say that banking is his art.
So then everybody's an artist if they're doing their thing well. The muse is the fair youth. So, okay, stirred. So it is not with me. Is he saying I'm not stirred by a painted beauty to his verse?
Wait, what's that?
I was trying to see how long that word "not" extended in the very first sentence, if it applied to anything underneath it.
Oh, so it is not with me, as with that muse, stirred by a painted beauty to his verse, I see what you're saying.
But I don't know that it applies.
It seems like it should, but I don't think it does either.
Yeah. Making a couplement of proud compare with sun and moon. So when I am using him as my muse, together our couplement it's almost as good as the sun and moon. It's almost as good as the earth and the sea and the flowers that spring and everything that you love that is shiny and beautiful. And then we get to that heaven line.
And then even God hems in this world at this couplement, the beauty of this couplement.
Yes, that heaven's air. This might be going out on a limb, but the air inside the world that we create when it's me and my muse, we create an air that is so pure and so easy to breathe that if you were in heaven itself, you would choke a little bit because it's not as pure as the air that you breathe when I am inspired by my muse.
Ooh, that's awesome. Let's just say it's that, just because that's so beautiful.
That's how I interpret poetry, by coming up with something cool, and then even the poet would be like, yeah, that's what I meant.
I think a lot of artists kind of do things like that.
Or what if that's just a famous reviewer? Everybody wanted him to review their movies because
so they could pull some meaning out of it for themselves.
This guy just has a penchant for loving movies and explaining it in such a way that other people love it all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
even the maker themselves are like, wow, I didn't realize that Top Gun meant all of that.
Do you think we're ready to come up with a synopsis and then see how we're at, or how we did?
Let's work it through a couple more times. So, what was that thing that I just came up with? Oh, that heaven itself coughs.
Yeah.
Because the air is not as pure. So that's the picture that he painted. He's painting this image of maybe like a little bubble. I'm picturing it as they're in their own little bubble when he's being inspired by the muse, and it's so pure, whatever great word you want to use, that when he and the muse are in their bubble together, it's almost as good as the relationship between the sun and the moon and everything that's great on the earth. Okay, and then so heaven coughs because the air is not as pure. So believe me, man, I'm telling you, I'm really in love, and you could believe how I write, because I'm just gonna lay it out there. This fair love is as beautiful as any person that's ever been born. The only thing I guess that it's not as beautiful is the sun and the moon.
Oh, let me true in love, but truly right. So let me say that, believe me, my love is beautiful.
Why won't you believe me, people?
Just like any mother's child, innocent.
Innocent, okay.
And pure, and not so bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air, meaning like it's not sexual. So my love is, I really love this person, but it's not sexual.
It's parental?
It's platonic.
Platonic. But it's as good as any mother loves her child.
It's unconditional love.
Whatever the scale is, it's mother's love. Okay?
Yes.
That's where I get. When you spin the wheel, or bang down the hammer on the like a carnival game, when it says test your love, and you hit the hammer and it shows you how much you love the person, mine would come up, the love that a mother has for a child. Okay? Are you impressed?
Pretty big.
That's the biggest.
That's the kind of love where when you win that, you throw the hammer down and put your arms out like, what?
You walk away. Hey, what?
And yeah, to cheers of the crowd. You slowly drop the hammer like some famous baseball player.
Love. Mother's love. He's known as Mother's Love for the rest of his life. And it's like, does that guy really love his mother? Well, he did a carnival game once.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like it.
So my love is as fair as any mother's child, though not as so bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air. Meaning, like, sex.
Though not so bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air, maybe it's you can't see it as clearly, because my love for this fair youth, it's just not as obvious. Of course, a mother's gonna love her
that's
son.
good. That's good too. Shoot. Well, we've got both of those out on the table. Do we need to? We don't need to make a decision on it. We can leave them both out there.
Hey, last week we did pretty well with two theories going in.
Yeah.
Both theories ended up holding up to scrutiny.
I will. Let me just get this out there, though. I'm leaning towards your interpretation now, but we've got the we've got the sex one out there. Just
we're
in
holding
case.
that one on. That one's on deck. This
Yeah.
one's actually stepping up to the plate. But we get 3 outs, So let's come up with one more, and he's in the hole. He's sitting on the bench, but ready to come out on deck. Hopefully with runners on base. You want to get a rally going in this kind of situation.
Is there 2 outs?
I'm saying it's the beginning of the inning.
Ah, okay.
We only have 3 batters, though. That's the thing. If we get a single and another single and then a strikeout, we haven't scored any runs. We just got a couple runners on. We made the pitcher work a little bit. But
one of these days we got to get on this podcast. You teaching me about like some really obscure rules in baseball. That's always fun.
Okay, first I'll look up some really obscure rules. I mean,
you
I
just
guess I
know them
some.
though.
I don't know. There are definitely things about baseball that I don't know.
Yeah, but like even the possibility of a triple play, I've heard of the possibility, but you're the one who could explain exactly what it is.
It's not. Yeah,
it's not as easy as it might seem. Like not a lot of people.
All right. Well, can that be a trivia question? I feel like I could do that one pretty quickly.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, we'll come up with just a couple different scenarios. There's nothing to look up, but we're not allowed to talk about it now because we're going to take up too much time. We put it in the trivia portion.
All right.
So, triple play. So we have Walter Cronkite.
Oh gosh. Okay, so going back to this.
Yeah.
The reason why I was thinking the not so hot as the gold candles fixed in heaven and air is because the couplet says, let them say more that like of hearsay well, meaning like, all right, if they think we're screwing, let them think that.
Oh.
I'm not going to praise that purpose to sell. I'm not going to gain money by telling everybody that, yeah, we're sleeping together.
I don't kiss and tell.
Yeah, pretty much.
You are being a very good attorney for your original client. I know that we met in a bar and we're just having drinks and we were talking off the record and you said, hey, just between us, I'm kind of rooting for your client. And I'm like, hey, man, I know what you mean, but you got to do your job. And then you came to court the next day, and you just started hitting it out of the park. And I was like, whoa.
Maybe that's my strategy. Catch you off guard, make you think I'm leaning your way.
Dirty, you're a dirty lawyer, and I fell for it. I relaxed. I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't come to court prepared the next day, and you cleaned my clock. Well, I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm coming at you with all I got.
So what do you think about that part?
Oh, I'm completely convinced now. You win. Yeah. Your Honor. The defense rests.
Oh, man.
No, okay. So yours, your theory really does hold up to the couplet. Now let's see if my theory can.
Okay.
So I'm the one that says, I don't have to show my love.
Because it can't be seen.
It's not like the love that a mother has for a child, or that maybe a man would have for a wife. Those types of things. Like, just that's another example. It's not in the poem, but just another example of obvious love. Well, we're not going to have those maybe public displays of affection. And again, with what you said, like, if you want to discover our true love and spread the word, and people are going to hear about it, you do whatever you want, but I'm not going to have any part of it. I'm just going to love quietly, except for this poem.
Yeah. I think it still stands up, actually. The love's so strong and innocent. That's it. So yeah, the love just can't really be seen.
It's a Where's Waldo type of love.
So I don't know. It still kind of stands up both ways. But we're again into the platonic versus sexual love thing here.
I almost feel like this poem is, hey, I'm so in love with this guy. Wait a minute. It's not necessarily what you think.
Yeah.
Or is it? That's the whole poem. Hey, you know what? But don't it. But,
Yeah, I like that. I think that's the whole... that's what we both pull out of this. I agree.
Let's do it.
So let's look it up.
I jinxed us in the beginning of the episode. I said, let's take a step back and come down to earth. Well, that would mean completely missing the point of the poem. And I think for the first time ever on Mike and Scott Read a Poem, we completely missed the point.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
I still feel a little bit proud of where we ended up, though.
Yes, just considering we started with nothing and we ended up with something.
Yeah, with some sort of, an interpretation of it. That's kind of what I like about this show too, is that, there's the right interpretations, whoever's opinion it might be, but there's also ours, which is fun in and of itself, like coming up with it.
Yeah, we got to make those noises at the end. That was fun. But it's not like all of the sources agree, by the way. When we looked at Spark Notes versus Cliff Notes, they said different things. However, there was one thing that was constant the whole time, which is that Sonnet 21 is talking about he's talking about himself as a poet as compared to other poets, or just another poet singular, and he's saying that they stretch the truth when they're writing, but because I love you or the fair youth so much, I don't have to stretch the truth at all. I just write what's real, man, and it comes out that way.
I think what really threw us was the muse part. We thought he was talking to his muse, but in reality, he was kind of standing in stark contrast to that, saying, I don't have a muse like this other poet who has to use, a painted lady to spur on his verse, I guess, his writing.
I guess I was still thinking of, even after reading the interpretation, I was still thinking that the poet was saying, yeah, you're my muse, but I still just write truthfully. But no, maybe you're right. Maybe he's saying that I don't see you as a muse so much, because you don't inspire me to write anything that's not just true. You're just, I don't know.
But in that, it's almost like he's saying that you're beyond a muse. You're better than a muse, because where their muses inspire them to think creatively.
Yeah.
It's easier with you because I just write about the love that I have for you. It could be that, yeah. I kind of see it as him saying that she's not, or he or she is not a muse.
Yeah, okay. That it's just something about, like, a muse, that word doesn't describe... That's a cheap, dirty word. I don't use that word with you.
Exactly, like,
okay.
They need muses. All I need is you.
But they're going to go out and they're going to write these crazy, crazy things, you know?
About chicks who have too much makeup on.
Uh-huh.
He kind of says that.
Maybe this is, like, I don't know, some small artist comparing themselves to the Backstreet Boys. Like, hey, you gonna listen to my songs? You know, I'm not gonna sell out the Fabulous Forum in Inglewood. Okay? I'm trying to date Backstreet Boys. I think probably the Staples Center was already in existence. So. Anyway, I'm not going to sell out the Staples Center like the Backstreet Boys. But you listen to my songs, you're gonna hear the truth. That's what Shakespeare's saying. Like, don't fall for just all the great clothes and dance moves and slick back hair. Look at, or if you're into that, that's fine. But I'm gonna just give you something that's really good and true. So you're right. We got some things,
but we just missed one large fact, and the fact is that he's comparing himself to other poets and how good he is. But the part that we did, I feel, kind of hit on somewhat accurately was his feelings for this person.
He loves the fair youth. All right, so that's Sonnet 21. Kind of want to do 22 next week.
You sound so depressed after that one.
I am depressed. Yeah, I'm depressed. You know, you can't feel great about that one. And now we got to go into the trivia questions. So we're going to find out.
This is the extra innings in a game that you've already feel defeated in.
Right.
You were up by 10. They came up and tied it
in the 9th inning, and so you're going into extra innings. They have all the momentum. You've used up all your pitchers, and you just know you're going to lose. It might take 12 or 13 innings, but you know you are going to lose.
That's such a terrible feeling.
All right, so we're going to find out what network Walter Cronkite worked. And I'm also going to give you a scenario for a triple play. Anything else that we came up with?
No, that's it.
Okay, so we'll be right back. All right, Walter Cronkite was on the CBS Evening News. He retired from that job in 1981. That's when I was born. You were born in 82, so we were 0 years old when he retired, unless he retired after September 4th.
But CBS it was.
Yeah.
That's probably way back when there was really only... I mean, was there cable yet?
Ooh, that's another good trivia question. I think cable probably came around in... Yeah, I'm going to say before 1980. 1978. Give it a shot. No, probably not. Probably like 83.
It first became available in 48.
Wow, 48. Okay.
It looks like it really got big in 85.
So it started in 1948, but just as a fringe thing. And then 1985 is when it was universally available.
Maybe a bit before 85. 85 it just has a few like notes in here that aren't anything big, actually.
Right. But that's cable television. So triple play.
Wait, first, how many different ways are there to get a triple play?
Well, I can't even... I wouldn't know that off the top of my head, and there's so many different scenarios.
Are we talking 50 or are we talking 10?
You have to have 2 runners on.
Yeah.
To start, or 3 runners on. There could be 3 runners on. So already there's different scenarios. If there's a runner on first and second, a runner on second and third, and or a runner on first and second, or the bases loaded. So already there's different scenarios.
Yeah, but I mean, we could group a double play plus a non-tag up or something.
Oh, so if it has to, it's the question that you've asked is not a baseball question. It's a math question. It's take these possibilities and subtract these scenarios, which we will call similar, and add them to these scenarios, which are dissimilar, subtracting those from total possible events, And tell me that number right now. Is it 50 or below 50? Tell me, Scott. What's the matter with you?
That's pretty accurate.
So let's see if you can come up with one. There's
Me?
a runner on first and second, and obviously there's no outs because you're only allowed 3 outs in an inning.
Yeah.
The pitcher pitches the ball. The batter swings. Let's go through a series of events that could cause 3 outs.
So he could either high pop fly to outfield,
Okay, so he high pop flies to outfield. Then what
second
happens?
base,
Yeah,
runs to third without tagging up,
without tagging up. Okay, great start.
outfield throws the ball to second base,
Okay, catches the ball first, I'm assuming.
who touches the base. That
Yeah.
means one guy's out, right?
Well, did he catch the ball in the outfield after the high pop fly?
Yes, he did. He caught it.
All right, so that's 1 out right there.
All right, so there's an out. Then
So he throws it to second base because that idiot ran all the way to third without tagging up.
yeah.
Okay, so he throws the ball to second. The guy catches it, tags the base.
So
That's
the-
2 outs right
so
there.
the guy running to third is now out.
Yeah. Now what happened to that guy on first?
He was on his way to second.
Moron. Did he tag up?
He hit first and rounded the corner.
No, but wait, did he tag up on the pop fly?
Oh, the guy who was on first.
Yeah.
Yes, he did tag up.
Okay, so he tagged up. Oh, this is getting exciting. Okay, so they throw the ball to second, and that guy is out on the force back. I don't. That's force back. I think I just made up that term.
But were they?
I think it's just a force out if you're off the bag when the pop fly. Okay, so then that guy tagged up. So now he's coming towards second. The ball is thrown to second. The guy on third that was running towards third is out. Okay, what happens to the next guy?
So the guy going to first is out as well. That's 3 outs already, isn't it?
Oh, well, because the guy going to second was slit. Now, you can't just tag the bag on this guy. You actually have to tag him now. that
Oh,
he
you
tagged
do?
up. Yes, because he tagged up at first. So he's coming into second thinking, okay, my buddy over at third is screwed. He's an idiot. I'm not going to waste this high pop fly. I'm getting my butt to second base. So he tags up.
Because he has to, though, right?
Well, they both had to. The first guy decided not to. And that's why that idiot's out. He ran
No,
to third.
but the guy on first. Oh, I see. Guy on first doesn't have to go to second because there's nobody behind him coming to first.
Yeah, because they caught the ball. So
Okay,
So the batter's out. So that guy that tagged up on first, he could just stay on first, take a break, and say, "Hey, at least we still have one guy on. There's 2 outs.
But no, he decided to go for the glory.
I'm going to save this team. I'm going to put this team on my back. All right, we're going nowhere without these legs. I'm going to get myself there.
Damn,
Then anything's possible. Then I'm in scoring position.
So a triple play really, it almost requires 2 people to screw up.
No, sometimes it's boom, boom, boom.
It's like forced.
Yeah, it's like, say there was a hit and run. That's where you send the base runners
Yeah.
so that they get a head start so that when the batter makes contact, they're already to the bag. So say there's a hit and run, and the guys on first and second are fast guys, so they get a good jump. And then the batter hits a line drive to shortstop,
Uh-huh.
who was running in towards second base anyway because the guy was stealing, so he was going to cover the bag in case there was a throw.
Yeah?
So he was running that way already. The ball is hit right to him. He catches it in stride. His very next step is on second base because that's where he was standing.
Ah, yeah.
So
yeah.
now there's 2 outs and he just has to throw the ball to first. The guy was already running. He stops. He twists his ankle. He's out the rest of the game. The ball is thrown to first. Out number 3. It was nobody's fault. These things happen. We've lost our leadoff hitter for the rest of the year also. Because it was, by the way, it was like the 4th inning, so it's not like the leadoff hitter would have been on second. It was on first in this case. But he's out for the rest of the season. It was a terrible triple play, but it was a fast triple play, and it was a just triple play. And that's how we'll leave this week's episode. 3 up, 3 down on Mike and Scott read a poem.
Nice.
My voice cracked. Now I have to say it again.
No, it's good. It's
No,
good.
on Mike and 3 up, 3 down on Mike and Scott read a poem. I really hit poem on that.
I was going to say, you overpronounced poem.
They're gonna love it.